Spirit of Cigar City proudly presents Krewe TV. For you people who haven't had the opportunity to watch us last Saturday night, the purpose of this program is to bring different crews and organizations to you live to see the background of what these people go through preparing for each parade. Just not basically throwing beads, looking pretty, as some of us might think we all do, but we're there to entertain and have a good time and all the travel to work. My co-host tonight is Paul Stryker. He's also with the Spirit of Cigar City. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Frank.
Paul was our producer last Saturday night, I believe.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
He was our producer last Saturday night and did a heck of a job. On my left-hand side, I want to introduce you to a friend and a member of the Rough Riders. We have an hour, people. Bring out a lot of beer and chips, because you have the Rough Riders on tonight. You'll hear a lot of stories and have a good time. We're not taking no call-ins, because some old girlfriends might call. But to my left, I want to introduce Bobby Alarde. Bobby is the past president of the Rough Riders. He is the ambassador to Ybor City. Bobby, why don't you introduce your co-people?
To my left is K.R. Lombardia, who is the president. Next to him is Philip Saladino, who is the first vice president. And at the far corner there is Richard Pazzo. I have no idea what his title is. No. He is the treasurer.
Yeah, Richie's the girls, even though his girlfriend's here, he's the man with the money. So if you're looking for an expensive date, call Richie.
It's not his money.
But Bobby, let's get on with you. You're a man who does a lot of things. I've known you for over 14 years. You used to work with my former wife, and Bobby was my sponsor when I became a Rough Rider member. Bobby, what is the purpose of the ambassador at Ybor City?
Well, the biggest purpose that we're there for is to more or less try to help the tourists. They're walking around, they're sort of lost and in a maze, and there's four of us at different intervals. We talk to them, ask them if they have any questions or they need help. And it's just to make people at ease in Ybor City, try to bring some life back into it.
Yes, I noticed at the Cigar Festival, I don't know if you got any extra money for that, but you were the bodyguard to our mayor.
Well, one of the reasons for that is not as much as I'm a bodyguard. The ambassadors of Ybor City is her program. She's the one that designed it. We've been in force for at least just a little over a year. And anytime she's around us, there's 2 or 3 of us, we try to be around her to help her out.
Yes, you did a good job at the Cigar Festival. It was a nice crowd, and we all had a good time there. And you could thank her for us personally for establishing the ambassadorship. Because you're an ambassador somewhere else.
Well, I've just been designated as the ambassador of the Spirits of Cigar City. Please, don't ask me what my job is, because I have no idea.
Well, Bobby, as all these gentlemen here know, nobody knows more what's going on in the city than you, because every time we go out, there's somebody there that knows Bobby Alarde, and they ask him questions. And you're never one short for an answer. God bless it.
Well, I tell you, that's one reason why I love being an ambassador.
Yeah.
It's the only place. It took me 67 years to find the job I'm qualified for. I talk, smoke cigars, and drink coffee. All right?
That's perfect. That's beautiful.
He's done a lot of jobs, too.
Yeah, he does. Like I said, Bobby's the past president of the Rough Riders, and like I said, he was my sponsor. This is a short story. That first time when I joined the Rough Riders, Bobby invited me, and typical Florida look, you know, with the shorts. We went. It was called the Smoker back there, back in those days. The membership drives, they're called today. Bobby introduced me to everybody, and I joined the club, and we're drinking and partying. Before I was ready to leave, Bobby says, "Frank, don't forget to go to the quartermasters and buy your things." Well, when I got home, my former wife looked at me with a sword, pistol holster, long gloves, and medals and beads, over $2,000 in product I bought that night. And I couldn't stand up as it was. I don't know how I made it home. But she always asked me, "Where's all this stuff come from?" I said, "Blame your co-worker, Bobby Alarde." He said, "Spend," and I spent that night. But we had a good time, and I'm still a Rough Rider. I still have a great time, and it's one hell of an organization. And I know everybody, and especially our president and the upcoming presidents, they're all proud to wear those blue shirts. Bobby, What else does the ambassador do as far as their duties, normal duties? You go anything beyond that there?
Well, you might say we're the eyes and ears of Ybor City at the time. We do look around. One of our gentlemen, in fact, it was this week, he prevented a robbery. He saw something suspicious, and he did call the police officers, and sure enough, they caught 3 of them. So we're the eyes and ears of the city and the officials. We do walk around. Once in a while, we see trash, something we would pick it up. We're not maintenance man in general, but we do try to keep things clean.
Yeah. Do you also do that at night, Bob? Does the ambassadors work at night also?
We have ambassadors there till 10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock at night, because I know back before how it used to be crowded down there when the streets were blocked, and there was always all the problems. And I'm glad to see times have changed, because you got such a beautiful area there, and it was being totally, to me, beaten to death with the young kids, where the older people could not go there and enjoy themselves. And I'm glad to see it coming back around. And I see mixed crowds. I don't only the younger kids. I see the older people there drinking and having a good time and eating. And I'm glad to see that, especially for the clubs. Being a one-time nightclub owner, the money, it keeps you going. How long have you been an ambassador?
Well, I'm the youngest. I've only been around 3.5 months.
Well, did they go dig up some graves? You're the youngest?
I'm the youngest. Youngest in the organization, not the youngest by age. But we do have another gentleman that is older than I am. He's 81.
Wow.
But the idea of it is we all do know the history of Ybor City. Yes. And when somebody asks a question, we answer it to the best of our ability. Some people can't believe we know that much. They say, were you around then? I say, no, my granddaddy was.
Right.
And we'll go from there.
I know you have a lot of history behind you. Bobby, how long have you been in a Rough Rider?
Since 1988.
And you are past president.
Yes, sir.
What did you accomplish, you felt, as being a former president of the Rough Riders?
Well, in the year of 2003, when I was president, 2 things happened. One, we built a little monument over there at the Rough Rider Park, which is connected to the trolley car garage. Right. And that belongs to Heartline, but they donated or gave us the Rough Rider Park. We have a monument that we call it a space capsule. In 25 years, which will be 2028, it will be reopened. Any existing family or any existing Rough Riders that is around at that time would come in. There's envelopes with a family name on it. When they open it, there'll be pictures of 2003, 2000, 2008, 1988. They'll be in there, and those people in 2028 will be able to look back and see what we were all about.
We had that in Philadelphia during the bicentennial year, 1976. They put in for 25 years also back in Philly. That's very good. Now, Bobby, I know there's one particular parade that I know you enjoy. I have had the pleasure, I know Richie had the pleasure to accomplish you a few times. Laredo. Explain about Laredo, Texas. The parade. The parade. At the boys' camp. The parade.
To start this whole thing, the way we got involved is the city of Laredo was here in Tampa, and like maybe 25 other cities were here at the same time. And they were trying to become the little all-American city, which Tampa is. Right. And there was a big convention. They were going, they were politicking, what have you. And we, the Rough Riders, were invited, and we happened to be there in uniform. I had a gentleman come up to me and started talking to me, asking me what we were about. And he says, you know, it would be nice if we can get you into Laredo. Well, sounds good to me, but we got to have a story or something to go to Laredo. Well, we came up to the fact that the horses came from Laredo. Yeah. So that was our sister city. And we go there every year, and it's the Washington birthday celebration, and it's in February. And it's normally the week after our night parade. The city is open to us. They give us a tremendous meal. Without even saying the least, there's always booze. At my room, we have the outside bar. Even the outside visitors who are not Rough Riders come in and drink with us. But we have a blast in Laredo. I was going to say Ybor City. In Laredo, everyone is always looking for. Last year, we did not make it because there were some problems. I had maybe 12 calls from that city from different officials trying to get us back down. We are now scheduled to go back this year. And in fact, I invited the Spirit of Cigar City. to go down with us, and I just hope we get everybody to go.
Well, I know when we first went down, the first couple of years, the military put us up in the barracks.
Yes.
And that was fun.
The first 2 years, that's what we did.
Yeah.
But as it went on, some of the guys decided, we're too far from the city, we're too far from the bridge, we're too far from New Laredo. So I had to go around. I started getting bids on different motels, and the one we ended up with La Posada was right up against the river. And at night, if you happen to go out and look out your back window or go in the balcony, you can actually see the immigrants coming across the river. And then you'll see the Border Patrol on this side pointing the light, and they're going back across the river. But we have fun there.
Yeah, and also the 1 year, our President of the United States presented us with a flag. I believe he flew over the Capitol, wasn't it?
It was not. It was a governor of the United States.
Oh, the governor, I'm sorry.
Yeah, at the time,
He was governor at the time.
Yeah, at
Yeah, he
the
was the
time,
governor at the time.
Mr. Bush was governor of Texas.
Right.
And they presented us with the Texas flag and a certificate that it flew over the Capitol, and they handed it to us, which was a tremendous thing.
Yeah.
And today, he's our president.
Yeah, I know the parties they put on for us, it was unbelievable. They treated us like we were just a president or a king of another country.
Well, they treated us like we're conquering heroes, and actually we're just guys that out to have a good time.
I remember too. They never threw bees at that parade. The Rough Riders were the first ones, and they'd be standing on the sidewalk, and we'd be throwing bees, and next thing you know, it's hitting them in the head, just falling to the ground. The following years, they went crazy. But the most funny one was, I don't know if you remember, they asked for bodyguards to watch the cartoon characters.
They had Walt Disney's cartoon characters.
Yeah,
But the
so-
first year, like you were saying, we went in, everybody just stood there, very, very well-mannered youngsters, all inside. Thank you, sir. How are you, sir? Second year that we went, you could see the kids down the road just looking up to see where we were at. Okay, but the third year, they were in the middle of the street. About the fifth year, the Walt Disney characters were there. They said, Bob, I need about 4 or 5 security guards to go along. So I said, sure. So I picked 6 guys. I went there. The poor 6 guys almost got stripped. There were people all over them trying to get to the cartoonists, the Walt Disney, Winnie Bird and Mickey Mouse and whatever have you. These guys came back, Bob, don't ever volunteer me for anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, we enjoyed it, and I'm glad to see that you have it back on the schedule for us. Hopefully I can make it this year. If not, I know I'll be there next year. I know Richie loves flying there, back in the old days, huh, Richie?
We had a rough one there with that storm.
Yeah.
That was,
How many times did it take you to try to land, and the wind kept on blowing you out?
Well, we had 32 guys on the plane, and about 6 guys were sick, throwing up, and we were the last plane that left San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
And they shut down the airport because it was a bad storm.
Well, at the time, they had those little props.
Yeah, little
prop jobs.
Prop jobs. Now they have a little jet, I believe.
Right.
Yeah,
They're the shuttles from either Houston or Dallas.
Yeah.
One year we went into San Antonio. I had a harebrained idea. I said, well, let's go to San Antonio and take a look. And we saw Riverwalk.
I was there.
The Alamo. And actually the Magnet, where Teddy Roosevelt and his bunch went in. And they shot. You could still see the bullet holes in the ceilings. It was tremendous. But then we had to go from there
5 hours.
Down to Laredo in a Greyhound bus.
That was fun.
It was fun in this one way, only because
we knew all the 7-Elevens were, because we were buying beer.
we kept buying beers, and the thing about it is the beauty was the driver could care less.
Yeah.
He did what we wanted. He stopped, we got beer, smoking cigars, cigarettes, we're raising holy heck in the bus, and he kept on. And he said, there's a big sign in the bus that says no drinking and no smoking. But he says, you guys hired us, you're the bosses.
Yeah.
And it was ours.
Actually, that's probably one of the best times I enjoyed going down there was on that bus, because we spent about 6 or 7 hours in San Antonio.
It was a long, damn ride.
Yeah, but it was a long ride.
We had a good time. One thing that Bob didn't mention, that when they're fixing up the hotel, the guys started to sand the bar down, and they didn't know the people's name that were carved in the wood thing for the historical Teddy Roosevelt, all the original Rough Riders that actually signed up to come to Tampa to go fight. So one of the guys said, you guys don't stop doing that. because you're ruining history.
Yeah.
But they fixed it back, and all the names are still there.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, I want to personally thank you for your year as a president, as a friendship, and all. We've had a good time for the past 16 years or so, and I'm looking forward to, hopefully, God willing, in another 16 years, you know. But I thank you tremendously, Bobby.
You're welcome. I guess the biggest thing is everybody asked me, what was I thinking when I brought you in? I said, I don't know, I lost my head.
Well, I can say this man, I had a very bad illness about 6 years ago, and I opened up my eyes in the hospital at the end of the bed, and this man was standing there, and the first thing out of my mouth was, I'm not in heaven.
He said, I must have gone to hell. The devil was here.
I was not in heaven. Bobby O'Lordy standing at the foot of my bed. But Bobby, I want to thank you for your friendship and everything. I really appreciate it. And I think you know it from my heart. KR, my man, the president. It's great to see you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Frank.
On the job. I know you're going to do a tremendous job. And also out there, people, he is a Gator freak.
No, I'm not.
I'm not?
No, I went to Mississippi State. I go with Florida because I can't get to Starkville every weekend. But no, I have season tickets for Florida, but I'm a Mississippi State Bulldog.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
All right, good. But I know you go to all the games.
Yeah.
And all. Are you going to go to the championship?
No, you can't get tickets.
Because Irma wants to go.
No, you can't get
You know,
tickets.
you know-
No, you can't get. You got to be. You got to be a Bull Gator, and I'm not. I don't give
We're a
much money.
student.
Or if you got about 1,200 students.
Well, I got about 1,200 kids out there.
I wouldn't. No,
Yeah. KR, what are you doing in private sector of life?
I'm assistant principal at Sickles High School.
That's good.
I've been in education for 33 years.
What the hell are you with the Rough Riders? Educational? All they want to do.
We're normal people.
I know we
the
are.
kids don't
I
think
know.
we are when they see us out in the halls, but outside of the school. But we're normal people like everybody else.
Paul, you have any questions for KR?
Yeah, what year was the modern Rough Riders?
Charlie Spicola started him in 1978. It's a story where Charlie was flying somewhere. I think he was with Joe Sierra, and he mentioned something about, Gasparilla as a crew. There was only three crews at the time: Gasparilla, Santiago, and Venus. And Charlie said we needed to start another crew in Tampa, and he thought that honoring Theodore Roosevelt and the Rough Riders, because they came through here, would be perfect. And it happened so that Charlie Spicola's grandfather sold ice cream to Theodore Roosevelt and the Rough Riders in Ybor City. And Charlie has a picture behind his desk of Roosevelt and Wood riding through Tampa somewhere. He really can't pinpoint it. But Charlie came up with this idea and saying, and he wasn't degrading Gasparilla. He says, Jose Gaspar was a fictitious pirate. There was really a Theodore Roosevelt.
Right.
So he started the club in 1978 with probably 50 guys. And at first, they built a float, and I wasn't a member at the time. I didn't become a member until 1988. But it took off, and it was, we honored the memory of Roosevelt, who the Rough Riders stayed in and around the Tampa Bay Hotel, which is now the University of Tampa. A lot of people don't know where they actually stayed. If you look at history and you read some of the books, they actually stayed around where the Mercantile Bank is, which used to be the Central Bank, all the way back to what was then Benjamin Field, which is now Fort Homer Hepburn Armory. Roosevelt only stayed one night in the Tampa Bay Hotel. He felt that he needed to stay with his men. So Charlie felt that would be a great thing to do, and I tell him the other day, I was telling him a few years ago, you've created a monster.
He has.
We've gotten. I don't think in his mind he thought we would get as big and do the things we've done.
Yeah. I got one other question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You go to New York.
Went to New York in '98 for the 100th anniversary of the Spanish-American War, and we actually went out to Montauk Point, and the Rough Riders. That's where they ended up. Roosevelt told his seniors that he needed to get the Rough Riders out of Cuba because they're dying of dysentery and yellow fever, and all they had was quinine water in 1898. So they went to Montauk, where they mustered out. They actually mustered out, and it was a great weekend because we were able to see where the Rough Riders stayed. And there's three houses. There's still three houses at Montauk Point that were there when the Rough Riders were there, and we were able to see where they camped out and mustered out. And I don't know if any of you guys were there, but we actually did a reenactment of the mustering out of the Rough Riders. And a guy named Munson is a lookalike, and he's from New York, and he actually stood in front exactly where the Rough Riders mustered out, and his men, who were actually the New York Rough Riders, and they actually are reenactors, and they dress. Well, we dress the same colors. They dress the actual uniform, and they actually gave him the Bronco Buster, the Frederick Remington Bronco Buster, a replica because the original is still in Oyster Bay at Sagamore Hill, and they were able to do that, and they had a Joe Wheeler look-alike, little guy, and looked very much like Joe Wheeler, and we were able to stand behind as the Rough Riders and do that. I thought it was an exciting thing to do because it was the 100th year anniversary, and we were able to stand at the same point that the real Rough Riders stood as they were mustered out. That was a great trip, I thought.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to make it. I think it was a couple of times you was going to New York.
Well, we went last year to upstate New York, where Roosevelt actually took the oath. Well, found out when McKinley was shot and killed, and he was out in a camp, and they went and got him. And Randy Maury actually put that trip together. He knew somebody up there that's been wanting us to go for years. I fortunately was not able to go. Right. But it was a great trip. But the New York trip, we were able to go to Montauk Point, Oyster Bay, see Roosevelt's house, which is it's breathtaking. See, the rooms are now bugged. I don't know if anybody saw the paper the other day. They finally found his pistol. It was a Floridian that stole it. They stole his model 1892 double action 38 Colt. And we asked him up there in '98, and they said it was stolen. That's why they had security cameras. But we actually saw the hat that he wore on San Juan Hill. It was in his. He had a beautiful study that had moose heads and all the animals that he'd shot because he was a well-known hunter. And the hat that he actually wore up San Juan Hill was hanging on one of the moose heads. And it was a great trip if you're a historian, and that's one of the things I really enjoy.
Pretty outstanding. What's the reason for the organization? You have a theme, and
well, to memorialize the Rough Riders and Theodore Roosevelt when they came through Tampa. Tampa was a deep water port, as everybody knows, and they left through Port Tampa. And you think about Port Tampa as being one, and at that time, it's 12 miles away. They were camping out, and they had to get to Port Tampa to get on a boat. And we just memorialize what he did and leaving from here. All the Rough Riders did not leave from Tampa. A lot of people don't know that. They didn't. 350 of them never got on a boat. If you saw the movie The Rough Riders, it's pretty historically correct where they had to commandeer a boat. They actually stole a train that was supposed to be with the 71st New York. And Roosevelt stole the train, and they took off to Port Tampa. But they had to leave 350 guys back. They couldn't get them on a train. So about 550, 600 Rough Riders went to Cuba, but 350 stayed here. And we're just memorializing that.
And what kind of activities do you partake in, social activities? And
well, everything's parades is our big thing, but
all right.
and we do 12 of them, and we do them all the way from Key West to Mobile or Laredo. So we're not just in Tampa. We did the parade up in Montauk, which was nice. It was very small. We've done them. Where else have we done them? Cayman Islands. We did that a long time ago.
Washington this year.
We did Washington, D.C. We're going to do Washington, D.C. again this year, which is really nice. It's a Memorial Day parade, and it's right in front of the White House. And we will march with the New York Rough Riders who have a reenactment group. We'll walk behind them.
We're invited this year to go to Tallahassee.
In Tallahassee for the inaugural ball for the governor. From time to time, we have to turn down some parades.
Yeah, the Cayman Islands, I had the pleasure of doing that.
The pirate.
Yeah. The gentleman that was for years was trying to get us to go there. 3 weeks before the parade, he had a heart attack and died. I don't know if you remember, Bobby.
Yes.
The guy was coming here for years, wanted us to go out there. And let me tell you, the Cayman Islands is another country. I mean, they treated us great out there. They gave us a boat for the invasion. And unfortunately, I don't think it's broadcast back here in the United States, but it was all over the world, everywhere else. We had foreign press question us and everything else, and we had a ball.
Who got sick down there? Sun poisoning. Reed Valdez?
The young gentleman that had the bad legs, Mike. What happened was the parade did, again, they were not used to people throwing beads. Right. There's a crew that goes there every year from Seattle. They put stickers on you. Well, we're throwing the beads, and we're partying, and then we get back to the hotel, and there's no Mike. What happened? 3 or 4 hours later, when they found him, he passed out from the heat, and the crowd just went around him and covered him up. They're still catching beads. None of us knew Mike Mikey passed
I
out.
remember when it happened. I just don't remember exactly.
Yeah, he passed out. But that trip, I think Mike got three free flying tickets to go
Oh,
back and
Mike
forth.
Robotics, Mike
Robot-
Robotics.
yeah. Mikey was a character there.
We,
Yeah,
We have socials once a month. We have a social director, Rob Bays, and he sets up socials at a different place, Bull Ring on Fletcher. We've been a lot of places, in places in Ybor City, and we'll meet there. Miller's one of our sponsors, so they give us some free beer, and we usually get the bar to give us hors d'oeuvres, heavy hors d'oeuvres, and we go there, and a lot of times we'll just go in there and just order off the menu. I've planned 4 smokers this year. We already had our first. We have a good time. We've had steak in the past. This year we had Italian sausage, hamburgers, just picnic type food and free booze, and just sit around and just brotherhood is all it is.
Let me explain that these socials, all the crews do different socials and whatnot, and all the crews are invited to all the
yeah.
socials. So it's like, this is like a big happy family. There's always a party going on somewhere. You're never left with nothing to do.
A lot of our members are members of multiple crews, like Frank and Bobby are both members of multiple crews, and Phil, I'm not. I got enough my hands with one. But we do 2 things that I think that our guys really don't get credit for, and I haven't been real involved with it. But we do teddy bear runs, and we're doing them as we speak the whole month of December. We take teddy bears to hospitals, to sick kids and to sick adults, and we take it to the spring where the battered women are, and we do a lot of that. And I've got to give credit to Marty Manti and Mike Edenfield, because they're the 2 co-chairmen of that, and they really do a great job in doing that. They actually give up the whole month of December, and they're out every night, even on weekends, giving out bears to the kids. I think that's just.
Well, I know you also do it down Key West.
December. And we do our teddy bear runs in Key West
And Tallahassee.
We do in Tallahassee. We've done them in Laredo. We've done them everywhere we go. We do teddy bear runs, and it's really good. And we don't get a lot of our guys, and that bunch doesn't get a lot of credit for it. Another thing we do that I think is fabulous is we do a Special Olympics. We do the states district Special Olympics and the state Special Olympics, and Steve Hall leads that up, and he does. We don't get a lot of credit for that, and our guys go out there, 15, 20 guys, and they greet the kids as they come across, and they're special needs kids, and I've taught them before, and they're wonderful to be with.
I also had the pleasure in Tallahassee a couple of times that when we ran out of, or here in Tampa, when we ran out of children, at the holidays, we ran into the elderly people that have no family, and we gave them, to see these people's eyes open up at the holidays with no family to visit them, I mean, it's unbelievable. And let me tell you, I carry that over to other crews that I belong to and all. I have a ball doing that. But KR, I mean, again, I know you got a big thing on your hand, because I've been in Rough Rider for 14 years, and I know what it's like.
Jobs now.
Yeah, well, maybe Rough Riders is a 10-man job, but you do have a job. We're going to take a short break in a few seconds. And
Enjoy the pictures.
Pardon me?
We got pictures of the Rough Riders floats. And
Yeah, they'll be coming on.
good
during our
stuff.
break.
We'll be right back.
Yeah. welcome back. Paul, explain what the people just saw during our break.
You just saw some pictures from our meeting last Tuesday. Actually, this Tuesday. It's only, what, Thursday. It was 2 days ago. Good pictures, Greg. Our producer took those pictures. Who's doing the show today. Did an excellent job. And he took pictures of the Rough Riders float and put those on the screen for us today to enjoy. I think he did a great job. So, Frank, where do we go from here?
Well, I have another question for KR. During the break, we found out a little nice piece of information. KR, tell them what you were just telling me about the relative.
I don't have a blood relative that was associated with Rough Riders, but I have a cousin. She's actually, her mother is my great aunt, and she married a gentleman named Gomez, who's Cuban, and my great aunt was an actress in Cuba. And my cousin's, her daughter's grandfather was a doctor by the name of Gomez. He was a Cuban assigned to the 71st New York, and he was a doctor. And a lot of people don't know this, but Roosevelt was actually shot at the bottom of Kettle Hill, and they show it in the movie very briefly. But he actually gets, the bullet goes through his glasses and doesn't hit him, but it shatters the glass and it goes into his eyes. And Dr. Gomez, my cousin's grandfather, was the doctor that actually took the glass out of Roosevelt's eye. And in fact, there's a museum in Miami, and I've never seen it. I need to go down there and see it. My cousin told me that shows her grandfather. His name was Ramiro Gomez, and he was assigned to the 71st New York.
During the break, I asked KR, the knowledge he has of it. I mean, I knew he knew a lot about the Teddy Roosevelt, but I didn't realize you were in depth. And one hell of a job.
I read, I've read a lot of it. I have an original copy of the Rough Riders, written by Theodore Roosevelt, and I have about a third edition of Splendid Little War by Franco. It's hard to find. They were throwing it away at a school library, and I grabbed it.
I think Jim Butler, he collects. I know he's a big collector too.
My wife says, don't bring home any more books.
Oh, I'll tell you what, let's switch over to Phil for a while. We don't want to forget Phil.
Well, I mean, PR is a tough act to follow.
Phil, tell everybody, what is your occupation?
I'm retired.
Come on, Phil, tell me.
Come on, tell the truth, Phil.
No, I'm retired. I'm a businessman and enjoying my fruits of the labor. Retired from the city.
Well, the reason why is Phil owns a pod shop, and when we walked in tonight, he sold his young lady's ring. And the first thing out of his mouth was how much he won for it. Always doing business. God bless you, Phil. 24 hours a day.
It's that time of month you got to get it while you can.
Phil, we're going to get into the teddy bear run situation, because I know you're involved in it. And tell us about last night that we saw in the paper this morning at Sickle, and I believe it was Gaither.
Gaither and Alonzo.
Alonzo. All the teddy bears you collected last night.
My Lord, this past week went to Sickles, Gaither, and Alonzo. And what, 4,500 teddy bears?
Roughly 3,800 from Gaither, about 1,800 from Sickles, and I think 800 from Alonzo. This is Alonzo and Sickles' first year doing this.
Now, this doesn't include Channel 8. This doesn't include Toys for Tots or the various malls that have their boxes outside of their businesses.
I know you have a big day, December 24th. It's Christmas Eve to everybody else. Tell the people.
That's Run for the Roses that day. We have anywhere from 50 to 60 people show up. We do most of the hospitals in Tampa. I guess the Children's Hospital, VA Hospital, and any of St. Joseph, and just keep going and going. Of course, all the old Shriners. Thank you. You know more about this than I do.
There's probably, what, 10?
About 10?
At least 10 venues that we go to that night.
Next morning till early evening.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll start at 6 o'clock on the 24th. There's no rest for the weary. But the thing is, to brings up to date on these teddy bears. Anywhere and every place we go, that's our trademark, the teddy bears. We're walking with open arms. Hands come in, help us. Like Mobile, we got another teddy bear.
Right.
Go there. Tallahassee, we go to 2 hospitals and a foster home we go to.
Special needs school.
Special needs school. But what's so important is that we have, from the community, we have we actually give out an average of 12 to 15,000 teddy bears a year. We have done this month already 22 runs, so we figured just this month alone we'll have over 50, 60 teddy bear runs alone.
Now, you're first vice president, am I correct,
Yes.
Phil? You're their secretary?
I'm the secretary.
What did you do as a secretary? Other than look pretty, wear a skirt, maybe?
I take bad notes.
Take notes?
Take notes.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard when these guys out in the audience or our crew, they get pretty ambitious and pretty boisterous out there, and it's trying to keep these lines straight is tough.
I sat in many of those meetings back there, and it's just particular group that sits way in the back of the room, and you try to control it.
Some people don't know how to light other people's fires, and it's interesting.
Well, they were good for that. Yeah, you're looking forward to your presidency when you become president?
I don't know if I can follow these shoes or not. He's got size 15
I know
shoes.
he walks
whatever.
on water, I was told.
11, excuse me. I don't know, the man's doing a good job. I can't complain.
How long have you been in the Rough Riders, Phil?
Going on 10 years. The strange thing about Robert was responsible for me getting to the Rough Riders also.
Oh, he's terrible.
Did you say 20 years?
No, 10. No, I'm not that old, please.
Yeah.
I'm not as old as this guy.
Okay.
But I think he's had his hand in at least 50% of the people in that club.
And Bob got in the same
Bob.
year. Bob got in after me, actually.
Yeah.
I got in about 2 months before he did. So.
Yeah, no, Bobby's very active in all different crews and groups and organizations. He spreads himself pretty thin. He does a heck of a job, and he's always there when you need him.
He's retired. He has a lot of time, isn't he?
It's amazing, though. You say retire.
Yeah.
You don't retire.
You don't.
No,
You don't.
Don't
You really
retire.
don't. And especially now, coming in Gasparilla, you guys ready for it, Phil? I mean,
We try to be. And I know we've got 500 strong and 3 floats. We're going to have our hands full, but we also enjoy ourselves. At least I think the people out there enjoy themselves. I do.
oh, I tell you, I've been in the Rough Riders for 14 years, and somebody recorded one of the parades, and I was watching it, and to see us come around the
So they
corner.
just start coming out. They know they're the Rough Riders. They all come out. They know who we are.
Yeah, you see that one blue shirt, and then it's just a mop of blue.
Well, that train and the caboose, it's our trademark.
It's an awesome sight to see them come around. But I got a question. One of you three could answer. What is it when we put this blue shirt on? What happens to us? We're completely different than we are in public life, private life. But when you put that blue shirt on, it's like going into a phone booth and coming out.
Me, this little man becomes a little kid. And it's one of the few times you can actually get out there and really enjoy yourself without embarrassing anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I see the new people coming in. Number 600 and something. The patches we have. Explain about the patches, guys.
Well, when you join, you get a number, and we don't duplicate the number. So we're at 525's membership, but I think we probably got numbers up to 700 because people have attrition as we've dropped out. And you have to have a number on to identify you. My first few years in the club, we didn't wear any identification. The uniform looked a little more authentic back then, actually, because we didn't have patches on, and they didn't wear patches. But we did that for identification purposes in case somebody gets out of hand. Right. We'll know who he is.
And I know Richie, you got a lot to do with the music. Richie's a music man, and I know you hear that stereo and you hear that sound coming out of the corner, Richie.
Got a lot of power.
It does.
A lot of power.
Explain about the process of getting ready.
I got a committee of about 5 or 6 guys that help me every year. We got the 12 parades, so we split parades up. One person does one parade. But what I call it is you give one day of the Rough Riders to become, it's a job. It actually is a job because you got to give up time of partying, drinking. You actually got to get to the clubhouse, put the equipment on the clubhouse, on the floats, set it up, go down to the parade route, get the music ready. We got a thing that we start playing music half an hour before the actual parade starts. So when you're in the parade, you're working. You're not sitting there and drinking with the rest of the guys because it's a job. And the guys that we have on the committee, they really do a real good job. A lot of people don't understand that what they're doing, that they're giving up their time for that actual parade to do something for the club.
Now, there's a lot of things that go on before the day of.
Oh yeah, we got to get the floats ready the day before. We got to load them up, equipments, fill them up for gas, get the drivers that are going to drive.
Ice in the chest.
Ice in the chest, water in the chest, sandwiches. It just doesn't appear. Everybody thinks, oh, it's here. But they don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Well, he's our sound man also, so that's why.
You've been elected.
One thing about
I'll need to
Richie.
get with you.
I know Richie's been doing it. God, I don't know. Probably the second year that you got in, you took over, I believe.
Yeah.
Like
I've been
I said,
with them
you've
now
been
going on my
a long
15
time.
years. So.
Yeah,
With the kind of equipment we have, if they don't see it, they sure can hear us.
that's the truth.
I think before
Oh,
Richard
my
got in,
God.
our sound system wasn't as good. I think we were able to
You upgrade, yeah.
upgrade. With Randy's
Yeah,
music.
yeah. Thank God for
Randy
Randy.
Moore worked for for?
It's
music?
a nice chunk of change. It cost me about 4 years ago about $7,000 that I had to come in front of the board and ask for $7,000 back then.
Hey, Paul, he's asking for stuff right now, Paul.
Keep trying to cut a little bit off, and it's hard to trim. You get so much, and you got to spend.
Go to Sam Manfredi to take care of you.
We got some surprise coming up this year for Gasparilla. We're adding some extra little touches that the president don't know about yet. I haven't brought it up to the board yet, but it's under my budget.
Right.
So I got the money under my budget. I can spend
Now you
it.
got him smiling. You're
You're under budget, that's good. All right.
It's on my budget. I can afford it.
Are you planning on surprising me?
When you're here, you get
St. Patty's Day?
another surprise.
I'm going to
You're
Rich 7. I trust him.
Yeah, I know. And like I say, I know Richie. We came in about the same time, and besides doing the music, Richie's in charge of the evasion.
Yep.
Getting a boat.
Gasparilla Invasion. That's a lot of fun. If you have never, ever done the Gasparilla Invasion, I would say go down to the convention center. Just watch it for once before doing the parade or to Harbor Island, because there's a lot that goes on there. You got to hire a boat. We get a boat out of Clearwater, Super Queen. It's an 85-footer.
Wow.
We put about 140 guys on the boat.
So you're partying out there while we're watching the.
Right, when you guys are.
We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we
I do.
we get on the boat at the convention center. We go out to
Tell them what time
Tampa Bay.
you're there in the morning. I mean,
Well, I
sunrise.
get there about 6. The guys start showing up about 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
We serve them breakfast, lunch, open bar.
They give
Only one rule:
they give
you
a new
got to walk the
definition.
plank.
To
Gotta walk
party,
the plank.
sunrise to
What's
If
that
you
all
sunset.
can't walk the plank, you don't do the parade route.
Heck of a day.
So that's one of our
Long
rules.
day.
Like a pretty strict rule, but I guess everybody can follow that.
Well,
Someone can.
you got to make sure the guys can walk the parade route.
before the invasion night, Paul, Richie was also in charge of we used to have the boat at night. down at
Yes, the party.
They have a
We
party.
used to have a
the night before. And Richie did all that too.
Oh, you still do that too?
Well, no, we changed it about 3 years ago because we have gotten to 525 members.
Yeah.
Plus their wives, so you're looking at 1,050 members.
A lot of people.
Showing up to a boat that only holds maybe 160 people.
Yeah.
The convention came to us and said, guys, you can't have a party here with 1,000 people on a boat that only
You do
holds.
a random drawing or something.
Well, we have moved it. We go to different locations. To my knowledge, we're at Stump's Upper Club this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So it should be a good party.
So how long have you been a member? And tell us who's eligible to be a member?
Well, actually, when I got into the club 14, going on 15 years ago,
Okay.
I used to hang out at a little bar down in South Tampa, and I had a few friends of mine who were Rough Riders, and they started talking to me about the Rough Riders, and, hey, you'll fit in, you'll like it. I joined. They had me scared the first month because all the stories you hear, they're going to do this to you, they're going to do that to you. So, but it turned out real good. Actually, the best thing I ever done in my life was join the Rough Riders because it's a good brotherhood. Everybody watches for each other, and we enjoy it.
Well, I'm a new member. Basically, I've only been in a crew for a little over a year now. I was in the crew of Hillsboro last year. Went through all the parades with them. Had a good time. Good people. It got me out of my shell because I was a homebody. I never went out or nothing. And I'm opening up to it. And I joined this crew now, and I'm still in the crew of Hillsboro. And I'm enjoying the camaraderie of everybody and making new friends all the time. And it's a way of life.
Well, the most important thing that I look at it, like you said, you were a home person. It brings you out and you're meeting all types of people in the world, all different jobs. It can help you
Yeah.
on your business. Meet doctors, attorneys, all kinds of teachers, everything. So it gets you out there and you have a good time. You really do. And if you ever need help, there's somebody there that will help you.
That's so true. That's so true.
There's so much activities that go on with us. It doesn't help but draw you out of this inner being that you are. Same thing, past experience. I went through some very bad things a few years ago, and it lets you be yourself. You go out there and you think you got problems, you see these other people, you just laugh, and it's really, really heartfelt.
I know it's helped me to mature a lot more.
It
I
does.
thought I was pretty mature, but you're still maturing all the time, and you just go to another level, I think.
Teddy bear runs are great for anybody's ego. You think you got problems? You need to go see these
Yeah.
kids sometimes.
That changed my life
It
years
does.
ago.
It
You
does.
learn how to deal with egos, right? And
Oh, man.
Yeah.
different personalities.
Different
and-
personalities.
St. Patty's.
Every
Yeah.
parade.
About St. Patty's Day Parade.
Yeah, Phil's in charge, does the St. Patty's Day Parade. I was on the committee last year, I had the pleasure of doing it, and all the preparation, Phil, tell the people the behind the scenes.
My God. We start actually 2 to 3 months ahead of time. You have to work with the city, the police department, garbage people, sign people, and even have people go out there, on our crew out there painting signs on the road, realigning it, putting numbers on the street, use, 10 or 12 golf carts?
Yeah, Ray Voden and Mike Thompson, our co-chairman, they were there from day one. I happen to be in that committee. It's one of the committees I've been working on since we started, and we start actually meeting in about January. Before Gasparilla, we meet, and it's a lot involved. Mike Thompson does a great job, and Ray Voden, and they have to go to the city, get permits, and we meet, and it's almost to the point now where it's like getting out of bed. We've done it for so many years. We go to the meetings, and the meetings are over in 30 minutes. But Mike does so much in the behind the scenes. Right. And then we meet the day of the parade. It's an early. We start about 9 o'clock. We eat for breakfast, and we go out and paint. And guys go home and run back, and we're back about 3 o'clock for a parade that starts at 8. And we're out on the streets getting everything organized because we've got floats coming in starting about 4, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a long day, but it's really a great parade. I mean, we're not New York, we're not Philly, we're not even Savannah, or Charleston. We don't. We're going to have ours this year for the first time on St. Patty's Day. The first time.
Yeah.
And while we don't have it on St. Patrick's Day, we're not New York. We can't. The schools don't close.
Yeah, Savannah does.
Well, we don't have that large of an Irish population like New York, and or a population. So we have it on the Saturday closest to before, and this year it happens to coincide with the same St. Patty's Day, which it should be. I think it should be really nice because of that.
What it says, March the
17th.
17th. Had a look.
Phil had a look with his hand. That's why he was.
Saladino's not Irish.
He was sweating off. That's why he said sweat. Can't speak about St. Patty's.
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I still.
We had to tell them before.
Saladino's not Irish. He doesn't know.
But no, I was involved last year heavily with Ray and Mike and the year before, and they both do a tremendous job. And the setups and the running around and to get the VIP people in line and get the traffic. I mean, it's to set up the floats on the street, and you got to worry about blocking traffic. You got to have a certain time. I mean, you guys do a hell of a job.
We have a great time that day.
We always do.
We just, and they said, like Ray was telling me, well, you're president now. You're not going to work during the day. And I looked at him and said, you're crazy. That's the best day.
That's part of it.
You start at 2:30 and you start imbibing and having a good time, and you're driving the golf cart and getting people in, and the camaraderie is great. I mean, you see other crews, they come in. It's a
well, I
fun
remember
day.
the first year they didn't want us to have it. Some classic car people had it on a Saturday. We had ours on a Monday. The U-Bush didn't want it or something.
We're thinking about changing the parade route. We'll be starting at Channelside this time instead
really?
of around the courthouse like we've been in the
The
past.
first year we had it was actually on Friday, and it was actually St. Patty's Day. The next year they had it on Sunday, I believe, because I think it was leap year, and they moved us Sunday, and they didn't want to do it with us on the Saturday. They wanted to actually do it, and they had the parade, and it didn't work out very well because they did it at night. And it was just, you can't do it. It's not New York.
No.
And Friday we got the trolley hop.
So glad you see that.
That's party time.
What about the trolley hop?
600 people
Would they say
have a chance.
leave the driving to me?
Well, that's why we got the trolleys to take us back and forth from Channelside to Ybor City. We have about 12 to 15 venues that offer either food or liquor.
Right.
Now, when is this? This Friday?
No, the Friday, 16th, Friday before.
So take that into account, viewers. If you want to mingle with the Rough Riders,
600.
now's your chance.
Only
And we sell
600.
out quickly.
We saw that
Within a
quick.
week or 10 days, we sold out.
Yeah.
About $25. It's Friday night.
All right.
Buy a ticket, and they tell you where to start, and you just go and visit all the
Just go east and west, west and east, and if you can't walk, take
North
the
to south if
trolley.
you can.
Channelside, Ybor City.
Oh, my.
I'm afraid.
You ride till 2 o'clock in the morning
I'm
on the
afraid.
trolley.
Yeah.
And if you don't make it home, they'll
Bill
get you a
Hogan takes
cab
care of
home.
that.
Yeah.
That was Bill Hogan's brainchild, I believe.
And Jim and Joni.
Jim.
Jim
Those
Johnny.
guys just do,
Yeah.
and they just do a great job. I mean, soliciting the bars to give us
Well,
things.
Miller and Premier Liquors are
Yeah,
sponsors.
Miller, yeah, and Premier Liquors.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Stoli and
Yeah. There's a lot of booze.
We're always looking for sponsors now, just because of
Yeah, we can't do sponsorship.
Coincidental.
No. But look, just call us at the office. We're looking for sponsors.
We don't want to get Greg, right?
No.
Greg, no sponsors.
We have a couple of members that are involved with Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our founder, one of our founders happens to be Yingling Brewery.
Right.
So, so we're having a ball. But Phil, Egmont Key, you gentlemen go there and
We go there at least once a year, sometimes twice, depending on like hurricane season. It's a shame that this is actually a state park that they allotted to. I mean, just go out, basically out into the Gulf. It's very historical. It had all kinds of forts and medical buildings set up there for the Rough Riders. That's where the guys, when they came back from Cuba, if they were sick, that's where they stayed. And if you go there now, you see all these buildings are half in the water, and it's state property. You think would take care of it, but
Well, one of the batteries actually fell into the
Is it
water
finally?
years ago. Yeah.
well, we go up there with as much manpower as we can. Of course, we take a few mechanical pieces of equipment, and we have I think the Coast Guard or the Navy that goes with us, and they help us fortify the area, at least bring it up to where for another year to keep it from eroding or washing away.
talking about the Coast Guards, don't you have a little situation, Richie, where you attack a ship or something?
I thought we weren't going to talk about that one.
Cuban Navy.
Ybor City invasion.
Yeah,
No, it was the Gasparilla invasion, and one year I decided to have fireworks off the front because we got a huge cannon. And I didn't realize that the Coast Guard helicopter was flying over the boat like 300, 400 feet up, and the guy lit the fireworks, and it got shot up. That was a nice entrance when we got to the convention center. They were waiting for us, but we took care of it and everything
Took
was
down the
fine.
helicopter with a firework, Richie.
This
God bless it.
the little cannon you're talking about. It's about a 4 or 5 inch mortar.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
4 inches, about 6 inches high.
Takes the whole boat.
I know, it should go vote.
Got to have some kind of fun.
Well, just if it's the music, it's the
Well, something's got to be allowed.
mortar. Yeah.
Hey, I figure I'm the next generation to help the club out, you know.
Announce our presence. Here we come, one way or the other.
It's pretty loud.
So,
Richie, sorry, Richie, what is your position?
right now, I'm the treasurer of the Rough Riders. I see all the money that comes in and goes out. Try to keep the guys in their budgets. I
He's good
just,
at that, though. I mean,
He's good.
very concerned.
Very good.
yeah,
know,
I bring it up to the president and say, hey, you only have this much money, they have to spend that much money. Where are we getting the money to pay it off? You know, you got to borrow from somewhere else to.
He's a little shocked. At the beginning of the year, you know you're going to spend money because you have to buy things, and we're going to get reimbursed by buying. You know, the people. But Richard has really been, you know, he's really stunned how much money. And I don't think we prepared him. I mean, I prepared Phil, said we're going to spend a lot of money. We're a big organization, spend a lot of money. And I think he's finally realizing, you know, we are going to spend a lot of money.
I wish I had that budget for my personal life.
And
Okay.
we don't have as much money as everybody thinks we have, though.
No.
But it comes in, it goes out.
Oh yeah,
You got to spend it.
yeah. It's
One of our
it's coming in, going out.
contributions is HEC.
Yeah, we give 10 scholarships to kids out of Hillsborough County Schools every year. Terry Zartman, who's a retired principal in the county, is the head of that. And each school turns in. You have to do you have to write an essay, and Terry has a committee and picks the kids, and we do that every year. It's really nice.
Also, I even totally forgot about it. At your ball, don't you present somebody with an award?
We have done it in the past.
You don't do it anymore.
We've not done it in 2 years. We give a law enforcement.
Oh, right. I remember, like, I haven't been to the ball for the past couple of
Yeah,
years.
we haven't done it in a couple of years.
Yeah, but I know you used to do that there. Phil, what else intrigues you about the Rough Riders other than all the good work they do? What other charities do you get involved in? You know?
Jesus. Well, besides the Bears and then
I mean, there's plenty. I know that's.
Shriners, I can. There's so many
Right.
people. It's
Toys for
volume. Toys for Tots.
Mason Dixon.
Oh, Mason
Yeah, we
Dixon's
give Mason
one.
Dixon
Yep.
$1,000.
Yeah, I know you do a lot and everything.
Boy Scouts.
You know,
Matter of fact, we had this. How about the house we had this year?
Oh,
yeah.
we completely redid, Glenn Sherry, his committee, completely redid this lady's house that was falling apart, and she was I think, living on Social Security with 2 grandkids.
From the ground
And they
up.
did that. I'll tell you what we did last year was really nice. found a Rough Rider in Key West that was buried without a headstone. And Charlie Spicola, relentless research, found the Rough Rider that was buried, and they were able to pinpoint where the grave was, and we actually got a stone. It's actually given to the United States government, and we didn't have to pay for it. And we rededicated the stone down there. It was very nice. There's supposed to be 2 or 3 more Rough Riders in the Key West Cemetery that did not have headstones, and they're still doing research on it.
3 years ago, St. Augustine did the same
In St.
thing.
Augustine, we did the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I know Charlie. This is Charlie's baby, and he does a great job and everything. One of the shows we will have Charlie on. This is basically a pre-run what's going to happen once we become permanently in March. But I know that there's a lot of crews out there that are interesting. We want you to get in contact with us. Come on the show, because normally we split the show in half. But with these gentlemen, I could run another 2 hours with them.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
We're getting loose now.
Yeah, I mean, you put a cocktail in front of them, and we'll stay till next week.
All you brought us is water.
Yeah, I know. Well, I got water. But I appreciate you taking the time out. KR, again, I want to wish you all the best of luck. You have great people behind you.
Oh, I do.
Phil, my man in Tallahassee, I'm looking forward to you.
Thank you.
In a year. And Richie, I gotta say, it's about time. You got the position you should have had a long time ago, my friend.
Well, I messed up. I wanted to be for Super Bowl. I did it 1 year too quick.
Yeah, I know, but
He's got a magic eraser now. He knows how to use it.
I know he does. And like I said, Richie does a hell of a job. Richie does a lot. Being around Richie the 14 years I've known Richie, he puts a lot of time and effort, his personal time, and actually all you guys do. You put your personal life aside, and unfortunately, a lot of times things happen when we do that.
Yeah.
But we give everything. So again, thank you. See you in the
Appreciate
future.
it. Thank you very much.
Look for us in March, 12-week series possibly. We're going to try to do that and have a lot more people on Rough Riders again.
And safe and happy parade season.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Come to the parades.
And a happy holiday.
Happy holidays.